When we look at these stories, it's really interesting. Beautiful stories in many ways, but they send some interesting messages. Let's look at Snow White and the messages that we receive from a very young age. We'll start with the women first, and then we'll move to the men. Snow White has a wicked stepmother. Great start, right? Any of you have stepmothers in your lives, you know that they had to overcome this stereotype. Well, Snow White's wicked stepmother looks into the mirror and says, "Who's the most beautiful of all?" Well, the mirror makes a big mistake and says, "Snow White." So we got to get rid of Snow White, right? Women are in competition with each other, right? We get that message from a young age. We got to get rid of Snow White, right? So she sends Snow White out in the woods with the huntsman, and she says to him, "I want you to cut out her heart and bring it back to me in a box." I mean, this lady did not mess around. She didn't. So the huntsman takes Snow White out in the woods, and he feels sorry for her. "You know what, Snow White? I feel sorry for you. I am not going to cut out your heart. All I'm going to do is take you away from the only home that you've ever known, drop you off in a dark wood where you're scared and frightened and don't know how to survive, because I'm really nice." And he leaves her there. Well, she's alone, she's scared, she's frightened, she stumbles along, she tears her dress, she hears noises, she doesn't know where to turn, and then she comes across the house of 7 little men. Do any of you remember the first thing she does when she gets to this house? Yes, she cleans it. Now, I don't know about any of you, but if somebody threatened to cut out my heart, drop me off in a dark wood, and I was scared out of my mind, the last thing I'm going to do is clean up after 7 little men I don't even know. But she does, and she even sings while she does it. Okay, so let's start with the women for a minute. Women, how many of you feel like no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what change you're facing, what stress, you're supposed to be there for everybody else? You feel that way? You're juggling, run out of hands, that's okay, I got a foot. My nose will do, right? And what I notice is we compare ourselves not only to real people, but to these myths, right? And your confidence drops if you don't feel like you're being everything for everybody. But it doesn't stop here. Men don't get it any easier. Let's look at the story. Let's look at the men. Look at your male role models in this story. Okay, we got a huntsman that's kicked around by the queen. It's a good start, right? We have 7 little men with single-faceted personalities. You can go that route, but you got to be grumpy every single day of your life, right? And our third option, which most men choose, is the prince. And the prince's role is that he should be able to fix everything with just one kiss. And when men go through change and the stress gets to them, guess what? If they can't fix it, it takes its toll on their confidence. "Give it to me, I will fix it, I am a man." And if they can't, they're in trouble, right? So this fear of comparison is not just to other people, real people, it's to these ideals. And our confidence drops.